مثلا أصحاب القرية إذ جاء المرسلون إذ أرسلنا إليهم 2 فكذبوهما فأززنا ب3 فقالوا إنا إليكم مرسلون قالوا ما أنتم إلا بشر مثلنا وما أنزل الرحمن من شيء إن أنتم إلا تكذبون قالوا ربنا يعلم إنا إليكم لمرسلون وما علينا إلا البلاغ المبين قالوا إنا تطيرنا بكم لئن لم تنتهوا لنرجمنكم وليمسنكم منا عذاب عليم قالوا طائركم معكم أئن ذكرتم بل أنتم قوم مسرفون فجاء من أقصى المدينة رجل يسعى قال يا قوم اتبعوا المرسلين اتبعوا من لا يسألكم أجرا وهم مهتدون وما لي لا أعبد الذي فطرني وإليه ترجعون أتخذوا من دونه آلهة إن يردني الرحمن بضر لا تغن عني شفاعتهم شيئا ولا ينقذون إني إذا لفي ضلال مبين إني آمنت بربكم فاسمعون قيل ادخل الجنة قال يا ليت قومي يعلمون بما غفر لي ربي وجعلني من المكرمين وما أنزلنا على قومك من بعدك من جند من السماء وما كنا منزلين إن كانت إلا صيحة واحدة فإذا هم خامدون يا حسرة على العباد ما يأتيهم من رسول إلا كانوا به يستهزئون ألم يروا كما أهلكنا قبلكم من القرون أنهم إليهم لا يرجعون فإن كل لما جميع لدينا محضرون وآية لهم الأرض الميتة أحييناها وأخرجنا منها حبا فمنه يأكلون وجعلنا فيها جنات من نخيل وأعناب وفجرنا فيها من العيون ليأكلوا من ثمره وما عملته أيديهم أفلا يشكرون سبحان الذي خلق الأزواج كلها مما تنبت الأرض ومن أنفسهم ومما لا يعلمون وآية لهم الليل نسلخ منه النهار فإذا هم مظلمون والشمس تجري لمستقر لها ذلك تقدير العزيز العليم والقمر قدرناه منازل حتى عاد كالأرجون القديم لا الشمس ينبغي لها أن تدرك القمر ولا الليل سابق النهار وكل في فلك يسبحون وآية لهم أنا حملنا ذريتهم في الفلك المشحون وخلقنا لهم من مثله ما يركبون وإن نشأ نغرقهم فلا صريخ لهم ولا هم ينقذون إلا رحمة منا ومتاعا إلى حين وإذا قيل لهم اتقوا ما بين أيديكم وما خلفكم لعلكم ترحمون وما تأتيهم من آية من آيات ربهم إلا كانوا عنها معرضين وإذا قيل لهم أنفقوا مما رزقكم الله قال الذين كفروا للذين آمنوا أنطعم من لو يشاء الله أطعمه إن أنتم إلا في ضلال مبين ويقولون متى هذا الوعد إن كنتم صادقين ما ينظرون إلا صيحة واحدة تأخذهم وهم يخصمون فلا يستطيعون توصية ولا إلى أهلهم يرجعون ونفخ في الصور فإذا هم من الأجداث إلى ربهم ينسلون قالوا يا ويلنا من بعثنا من مرقدنا هذا ما وعد الرحمن وصدق المرسلون إن كانت إلا سيئة واحدة فإذا هم جميع لدينا محضرون فاليوم لا تظلم نفس شيئا ولا تجزون إلا ما كنتم تعملون إن أصحاب الجنة اليوم في شغل فاكهون هم وأزواجهم في ظلال على الأرائك متكئون لهم فيها فاكهة ولهم ما يدعون سلام قولا من رب رحيم وامتازوا اليوم أيها المجرمون ألم أحد إليكم يا بني آدم أن لا تعبدوا الشيطان إنه لكم عدو مبين وأن اعبدوني هذا صراط مستقيم ولقد أضل منكم جبلا كثيرا أفلم تكونوا تعقلون هذه جهنم التي كنتم توعدون اصلوها اليوم بما كنتم تكفرون اليوم نختم على أفواههم وتكلمنا أيديهم وتشهد أرجلهم بما كانوا يكسبون ولو نشاء وتمسنا على أعينهم فاستبقوا الصراط فأنى يبصرون ولو نشاء لمسخناهم على مكانتهم فما استطاعوا مضيا ولا يرجعون ومن نعمره ننكسه في الخلق أفلا يعقلون وما علمناه الشعر وما ينبغي له إن هو إلا ذكر وقرآن مبين لينذر من كان حيا ويحق القول على الكافرين أفلم يروا أنا خلقنا لكم مما عملت أيدينا أنعاما فهم لها مالكون وذللنا لكم فمنها ركوبكم ومنها يأكلون ولكم فيها منافع ومشارب أفلا يشكرون واتخذوا من دون الله آلهة لعلكم ينصرون لا يستطيعون نصرهم وهم لهم جند محضرون فلا يحزنك قولهم إنا نعلم ما يسرون وما يعلنون أفلم يرى الإنسان أنا خلقناه من نطفة فإذا هو خصيم مبين وضرب لنا مثلا ونسي خلقه قال من يحيي العظام وهي رميم قل يحيي الذي أنشأها أول مرة وهو بكل خلق عليم الذي جعل لكم من الشجر الأخضر نارا فإذا أنتم منه توقدون أفليس الذي خلق السماوات والأرض بقادر على أن يخلق مثلكم بلى وهو الخلاق العليم إنما أمره إذا أراد شيئا أن يقول له كن فيكون فسبحان الذي بيده ملكوت كل شيء وإليه ترجعون صدق الله العلي العظيم الفاتحة اللهم صل على محمد بسم الله
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم اللهم إني أسألك برحمتك التي وسعت كل شيء وبقوتك التي قهرت بها كل شيء وخضع لها كل شيء وذل لها كل شيء وبجبروتك التي غلبت بها كل شيء وبعزتك التي لا يقوم لها شيء وبعظمتك التي ملأت كل شيء، وبسلطانك الذي على كل شيء، وبوجهك الباقي بعد فناء كل شيء، وبأسمائك التي ملأت أركان كل شيء، وبعلمك الذي أحاط بكل شيء، وبنور وجهك الذي أضاء له كل شيء. يا نور يا قدوس يا نور يا أول الأولين ويا آخر الآخرين، اللهم اغفر لي الذنوب التي تحت كل سام، اللهم اغفر لي الذنوب التي تنزل النكام، اللهم اغفر لي الذنوب التي تغير النعم، اللهم اغفر لي الذنوب التي تهبس الدعاء، اللهم اغفر لي كل ذا، اللهم اغفر لي الذنوب التي تقطع الرجاء، اللهم اغفر لي الذنوب التي تنزل البلاء، اللهم اغفر لكل ذنب أذنبته وكل خطيئة أخطأتها، اللهم إني أتقرب إليك بذكري وأستشفع بك إلى نفسي، وأسألك بجود أن تدني من كربي، وأن تعزعني شكرا، وأن تلهمني ذكرك. اللهم إني أسألك سؤال خاضع متذلل خاشع أن تسامحني وترحمني وتجعلني بقسمك راضيا قانعا وفي جميع الأحوال متواضعا. اللهم وأسألك سؤال من اشتدت فاقته وعندل بك عند الشدائد حاجته وعظم فيما عند غرابته. اللهم عظم سلطانك وعلى مكانك وخفي مكروك وظهر أمرك وغلب قهرك وجارت قدرته ولا يمكن الفرار من حكومتك. اللهم لا أجد لذنوب غافرا ولا لقضائه ساترا ولا لشيء من عملي قبيح بالحسن مبدلا غيرك. لا إله إلا أنت سبحانك وبحمدك. ظلمت نفسي ظلمت وزجرت بجهلي وسكنت إلى قديم ذكرك لي ومنك علي. اللهم مولاي كم من قبيح سترت وكم من فاضح من البلاء أقلت وكم من عسار وقيت وكم من مقرون دفعت وكم من صناع جميل لست أهلا له نشرت. اللهم عظم بلائي وأفرت بسوء حالي وقصرت بي أعمالي وقعدت بي أغلالي وحبسني عن نفع بعد أماني وخادت الدنيا بغرورها ونفسي بجنايتها ومثالي. يا سيدي فأسألك بعزتي الله يحجب عنك دعائي سوء عملي وفعالي ولا تهزعني بخفي ما اطلعت عليه من سري. ولا تعاجلني بالعقوبات على ما عملت في خلواتي من سوء فعل وإساءتي ودوام تفريط وجهالتي وكثرة شهواتي وغفلتي. وقل اللهم بعزتك لي في كل الأحوال رؤوفا وعلي في جميع الأمور عطوفا. إلهي وربي من لغيرك أسأله كشف ذر والنذر في أمري. إلهي ومولاي أجريت علي حكما اتبعت فيه هوى نفسي ولم أحترس فيه من تزيين عدوي فقرني بما أهوى وأسعده على ذلك القضاء فتجاوزت بما جرى علي من ذلك بعد حدودك وخالفت بعد أوامرك فلك الحمد علي في جميع ذلك ولا حجة لي فيما جرى علي فيه قضاءك وألزمني حكمك وبلاغك. وقد أتيتك يا إلهي بعد تقصيري وإسرافي على نفسي معتذرا نادما منكسرا مستقيلا مستغفرا منيبا مكرا مذعنا معترفا. لا أجد مفر من مكان مني ولا مفزعا أتوجه إليه في أمري غير قبولك عذري وإدخالك إياي في سعة رحمتك. اللهم فاقبل عذري وارحم شدة زري وفكني من شد وساكي. يا رب ارحم ضعف بدني وركة جلدي ودقة عزمي. يا من بدأ خلقي وذكري وتربيتي وبري وتغذيتي هبني الابتداء كرمي وسالف برك بي. يا إلهي وسيدي وربي أتراك معذب بنار بعد توحيدي وبعد من ضم علي قلبي من معرفتي ولهج به لساني من ذكري وأعتقده ضميري من حبي وبعد صدق اعترافي ودعائي خاضعا لربوبيتي. هيهات أنت أكرم من أن تضيع من قد ربيت أو تبعد من عدنيت أو تشرد من نويت أو تسلم إلى البلاء من كفيته ورحمت. وليت شعري يا سيدي وإلهي ومولاي أتسلط النار على وجوه خرت لعظمتك ساجدا وعلى ألسن نطقت بتوحيدك صادك وبشكرك مادحا وعلى قلوب اعترفا بإلهيتك محققا وعلى ظواهر هوت من العلم بك حتى صارت خاشعة وعلى جوارح سعت إلى أوطان تعبدك طائعا وأشارت باستغفارك مذعنا ما خاق الظن به ولا أخبرنا بفضلك عنك يا كريم يا رب وأنت تعلم ضعف عن قليل من بلاء الدنيا وعقوباتها وما يجري فيها من المكاره على أهلها، ألا أن ذلك بلاء مقروء قليل مقصور يسير بقاء قصير مدة، فكيف احتمال لبلاء الآخرة وجليل وقوع المكاره فيها، وهو بلاء تطول مدته ويدوم مكام ولا يخفف عن أهله، لأنه لا يكون إلا عن غضبك وانتقامك وسخطك، وهذا ما لا تقوم له السماوات والأرض يا سيدي، فكيف لي وأنا عبدك الضعيف الذليل الحقير المسكين المستكين. يا إلهي وربي وسيدي ومولاي، لعي الأمور إليك أشكو، ولم من هذا الجوع أبكي، لعليم العذاب وشدتي أم لطول البلاء ومدتي، فلئن سيرتني للعقوبات مع أعدائك وجمعت بيني وبين أهل بلائي وفرقت بيني وبين أحبائك وأوليائك، فهبني يا إلهي وسيدي ومولاي وربي، صبرت على عذابك فكيف أصبر على فراقك، وهبني صبرت على حر نارك فكيف أصبر عن النظر إلى كرامتك، أم كيف أسكن في النار ورجائي عفو، فبعزتك يا سيدي، فبعزتك يا سيدي، فبعزتك يا سيدي ومولاي، أقسم صادقا لئن طرقتني ناتقا لا أزجن عليك بين أهلها ضجيج العاملين، ولا أصرخن عليك صراخ المستصرخين، ولا أبكين عليك بقاء الفاقدين، ولا أنادينك عين وأنادينك عين كنت يا ولي المؤمنين، يا غاية آمال العارفين، يا غياث المستغيثين، يا غياث يا حبيب قلوب الصادقين، ويا إله العالمين، أفرض فتراك سبحانك يا إلهي وبحمدك تسمع فيها صوت عبد مسلم سجن فيها بمخالفته وذاق طعم عذابها بمعصيته وهبس بين أطباقها بجرمه وجريرته، وهو يذج عليك ضجيج معملا لرحمتك ويناديك بلسان أهل توحيدك ويتوسل عليك بربوبيتك يا مولاي، فكيف يبقى في العذاب وهو يرجو ما سلف من علمك؟ أم كيف تؤلمه النار وهو يعمل فضلك ورحمتك؟ أم كيف يحرقه لهيبها وأنت تسمع صوته وترى مكانه؟ أم كيف يشتمل عليه زفيرها وأنت تعلم ضعفا. هم كيف يتقلقل بين أتباكها وأنت تعلم صدقا. هم كيف تزجره زبانيتها وهو يناديك يا رباه. أم كيف يرجو فضلك في إتقه منها فتتركه فيها. هيهات، ما ذلك الظن بك ولا المعروف من فضلك ولا مشبه لما عاملت به الموحدين من برك وإحسانك. فباليقين أقطع لولا ما حكمت بي من تعذيب جاهديك وقضيت بي من إخلاد معانديك لجعلت النار كلها بردا وسلاما وما كان لأحد فيها مقرا ولا مقاما. لكنك تقدست اسماك أقسمت أن تملأها من الكافرين من الجنة والناس أجمعين وأن تخلد فيها المعاندين. وأنت جل ثناؤك قلت مبتدعا وتطولت بالإنعام متكرما. أفمن كان مؤمنا كمن كان فاسقا لا يستوون. إلهي وسيدي فأسألك بالقدرة التي قدرتها وبالقضية التي حكمتها وحكمتها وغلبت من عليه يجريت أن تهب لي في هذه الليلة وفي هذه الساعة كل جرم أجرمته وكل ذنب أذنبته وكل كبيح أسررته وكل جهل عملت كتمت أو أعلنت أخفيت أو أظهرت وكل سيئة أمرت بإثباتها الكرام الكاتبين الذين وكلتهم بحفظ ما يكون مني وجعلتهم شهود علي مع جواره وكنت أنت رقيب علي من ورائهم والشاهد لما خفي عنهم وبرحمتك أخفيتهم وبفضلك سترتهم وأن تغفر حظ من كل خير أنزلتهم أو إحسان فضلتهم أو بر نشرتهم أو رزق بسطتهم أو ذنب تغفروه أو خطأ تستروه. يا ربي يا ربي يا رب. يا إلهي وسيدي ومولاي ومالك رزقي يا من بيد ناصيتي يا عليما بذري ومسكنتي يا خبيرا بفقري وفاقتي يا ربي يا ربي يا رب. أسألك بحقك وقدسك وأعظم صفاتك وأسمائك أن تجعل أوقاتي من الليل والنهار بذكرك معمورة وبخدمتك موصولة وأعمالي عندك مقبولة حتى تكون أعمالي وأورادي كلها وردا واحدا وخالف خدمتك سرمدا. يا سيدي يا من عليه معولي، يا من عليه شقوت أحوالي، يا ربي يا ربي يا رب. يا رب قوي على خدمتك جواري، واشدد على العزيمة جواني، وهب لي الجد في خشيتك والدوام في الاتصال بخدمتك سطا أسرها إليك في ميادين السابقين، وأسرع إليك في البارزين، واشتاق إلى قربك في المشتاقين، وعدنو منك دنو المخلصين، وأخافك مخافة المعكنين، واجتمع في جوارك مع المؤمنين. اللهم ومن أرادني بسوء فارد، ومن كادني فقد، واجعلني من أحسن عبيدك نسيبا عندك، وأقربهم منزلة منك، وأخصهم زلفة لديك، فإنه لا ينال ذلك إلا بفضله، وجدل بجوده، وأطف علي بمجده، واحفظني برحمته، واجعل لساني بذكرك لهجا، وقلبي بحبك مطيما، ومن علي بحسن عجابتك، وأقلني عسرتي، واغفر زلتي، فإنك قضيت على عبادك بعبادتك، وأمرتهم بدعائك، وثمنت لهم العجابة، فإليك يا ربي نسبت وجهي، وإليك يا ربي مددت يدي، فبعزتك استجب لي لدعائي، وبلغني منايا، ولا تقتب من فضلك رجاء، واكفني شر الجن والإنس من أعدائي، يا سري الرضا، يا سري الرضا، يا سري الرضا، اغفر لمن لا يملك إلا الدعاء، فإنك فعال لما تشاء، يا من اسمه دواء، وذكره شفاء، وطاعته غنى، ارحم من رأس ماره الرجاء، وسلاحه البقاء، يا سابق النعم، يا دافع النقام، يا نور المستوحشين في الظلام، يا عالما لا يعلم، صل على محمد وآل محمد، وافعل بما أنت أهله، وصلى الله على رسوله والأئمة الميامين من آله وسلم تسليما كثيرا كثيرا. الفاتحة.
محمد وآل محمد صلوات. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. First, if I can please invite
Syed Hawar Kazmi for a very short marthiyah. Please welcome him with a loud salawat.
नारे सलावत। घबरा एगी ज़ैनब, घबरा एगी ज़ैनब, भैया तुम्हें घर जाके कहाँ पाएगी ज़ैनब, घबराएगी ज़ैनब। कैसे ये भरा घर हुआ बर्बाद, इलाही क्या तबाही, अब इसको न आबाद कभी पाएगी ज़ैनब, घबराएगी ज़ैनब। घर जाके किसे देखेगी कासम है न अब्बास, अकबर से भी है आस, अपने अली असगर को कहाँ पाएगी ज़ैनब, घबराएगी ज़ैनब। पूछेंगे जो सब लोग के बाजू पे हुआ क्या, ये नील है कैसा, किस किस को निशान रस्सी के दिखलाएगी ज़ैनब, घबराएगी ज़ैनब। अरे फट जाएगा बस देख के ही घर को कलेजा, याद आओगे भैया, दिल ढूंढेगा तो तुमको कहाँ पाएगी ज़ैनब, घबराएगी ज़ैनब। बेपर्दा हुई मौत ना आए। क्या जानिए क्या क्या भी दुख पाएगी ज़ैनब, घबराएगी ज़ैनब। सलावत।
Assalamu ala al-Hussain wa ala Ali ibn al-Hussain wa ala awlad al-Hussain wa ala ashab al-Hussain Muhammad wa ali Muhammad salawat. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad wal jil farajhum. Maulana sahab, brothers and sisters, assalamu alaikum. Please join me reciting Surah Al-Fatiha once, Surah Ikhlas 3 times for Sayyidah Sakina Bibi, daughter of Sayyid Barkat Ali Shah, and for all of the marhumeen of the family sponsoring the niyaz. As a hadiyah to the marhuma, the following has been read so far: 10 times Quran Majid, 100,000 Surah Ikhlas, 100,000 Salawat, 100,000 Bismillah, 100,000 Astaghfirullah, and 50 times Surah Al-Mulk. So for the Isala Swab of Sayyidah Sakina Bibi, all the marhumeen of tonight's sponsors, as well as your own marhumeen. Al-Fatiha. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen ar-Rahman ar-Rahim Maliki Yawmiddin. Iyyaka na'budu wa iyyaka nasta'in. Ihdina as-sirata al-mustaqim, sirata allazina an'amta alayhim غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. قل هو الله أحد الله الصمد لم يلد ولم يولد ولم يكن له كفوا أحد. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. قل هو الله أحد الله الصمد لم يلد ولم يولد ولم يكن له كفوا أحد. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. قل هو الله أحد الله الصمد لم يلد ولم يولد ولم يكن له كفوا أحد. Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin wa ali Muhammad. Running a few minutes over, so I'll be as brief as possible. Just an announcement due to the ongoing security situation. I believe the President, he had a meeting today with the local MP, councillors and the police. Please stay vigilant, use your common sense when going out. You know, especially for women, don't go out by yourself when it's dark outside. If you see anyone protesting or anything like that, don't engage with them. Just keep yourself to yourself and mind your own business and move on. And again, please just use your common sense during these times. Next Majlis program is to commemorate the Shahadat of Imam Hassan Mushtaba alayhi salam. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad wajil farajahum. Program will be on Tuesday starting at 6:40 p.m. You will get the messages on WhatsApp. If you need to sign up for WhatsApp, please go to alzaracenter.org/WhatsApp, scan the QR code, and you shall start receiving the messages. Finally, I'd like to welcome Maulana Syed Kambar Hussain. As you all know, Maulana Sahib, he grew up in the community of Watford. I believe this is his first time reciting at the center. So, second, okay, mashallah. So again, just before, as he comes forward, if I can ask all the brothers to move as far forward as possible with one loud salawat. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Ya Rasul, Ya Ali, Ya Ali, Zindabad, Zindabad, Murdabad, Murdabad.
For all the ulama and Shuhada that have sacrificed their lives for Islam, for the marhameen of all the believers that are gathered here, the marhameen of the believers around the world, especially the believers in Palestine, in Lebanon, in Syria, in Iraq, in Parachinar, wherever the believers may be, and especially for the maghfirah of marhuma Sayyidah Sakina Bibi. Please join me and recite a Surah Al-Fatiha. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Maliki yawmiddin. Iyyaka na'budu wa iyyaka nasta'in. Siratal mustaqim. Siratal ladzina an'amta alaihim ghayril maghdubi alaihim waladdallin. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين سيدنا ونبينا وحبيب قلوبنا وطبيب نفوسنا وشفيع ذنوبنا أبي القاسم محمد وعلى أهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين المكرمين المنتجبين لا سيما بقية الله في الأرضين روحي وأرواح العالمين لتراب مقدمه الفداء ولعنة الله على أعدائهم أجمعين من الآن إلى يوم الدين أما بعد قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم من أذى مؤمنا فقد آذاني ومن آذاني فقد أذى الله عز وجل ومن أذى الله فهو ملعون في التوراة والإنجيل والزبور والفرقان. For the hastening and return of our beloved Imam, recite salawat. For us to be of those who get to see the Imam in our lifetime and be of service to him, inshallah, recite the second one louder. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. For the love of the lady Fatima Al-Zahra, recite the last one with the loudest of your voices. Allahumma salli ala. My respected elders, my dear brothers and sisters, Assalamu alaikum jami'an wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Alhamdulillah, it's a great honor and tawfiq to be gathered here amongst the mu'mineen on a Thursday night. As all of you know, from the narrations of the Ahlul Bayt alayhimus salam, this is what considered ibadah. This is worship. Before I go on to my topic, we will be speaking about the wilayah of the mu'mineen. How it is one of the easiest and quickest ways to get closer to the Ahlul Bayt alayhimus salam. Since tonight's majlis is sponsored for the maghfirah of marhuma Sayyidah Sakina Bibi, the mother of Sayyid Zafar Shah, we'll spend a few moments remembering death. What can we do for our loved ones? As you know, this dear mu'minah has left this world. She's continued on this journey. As we know, death, I know many of you have got scared already, we're talking about death, but death is not something that we should be scared of. We're returning to Allah, the one who loves us more than anyone else. We're returning, we're going to see Amir al-Mu'mineen, Sayyidah Fatima salamullah alayha. If we fear death, it's not because of Allah. We fear death, it's because of our own actions. We know Allah is going to be the most just. If we fear it, it's because of our actions. Now, this mu'minah who's left this world, she was a mother. Many of our parents have left this world. Some of our parents are still alive. Parents are great blessings. Many of us, we realize or value that blessing once it's taken away from us. Once our parents leave, we think and ponder, I wish I hadn't spoken to my mother like this. I wish I had spent some more time with my father or with my brother. Maybe I should have listened to them. I had a disagreement, but I disrespected them. I regret it. Now, some of us, our parents are still alive. One way to reduce our lifespan is how? We speak about this a lot, about valuing our parents. In our narrations, you find the one who upsets his parents will reduce, his lifespan will reduce. His risk will be cut. That could be financial, that could be health, that could be risk in its other forms. Okay, now our parents have left, what can we do? We can still pray for them. As we know, this journey, where did it start from? As we know, a lot of you know about the different realms we have. We started from where? As many of our great ulama, how they explain, Inna lillah wa inna ilayhi raji'un is how? We started from where? We came from Allah in Alim Al-Zahra, then into Alim Al-Aqul or Mithal, then the dunya. This is the journey continuing. Then from the dunya, where do we go? To barzakh and then the akhirah. This is just a pit stop. Now what can we do for some of our parents? Is everyone with me? Recite salawat, please. Now our parents have left us, what can we do? We can still pray for them. It has benefit for them. In some of our narrations, what does it say? The arwah of our family members come to our houses. There's different narrations, some on a Thursday night, some on a Friday. They come to our houses. They're looking for something to help them in barzakh. Just imagine how much love you had for your mother. Now she comes to your house. What is she taking back with her? Nothing? Are we going to send her back empty-handed? Or have we recited as-salawat, a fatiha for her? It doesn't have to be a huge gathering. We have to sponsor a majlis for 3 days. Even though this has a great reward. The majlis of the Ahlul Bayt is something else. It could be something small. Many of us are busy in our lives. Get into a habit. That's why in every majlis, before I start, I always start with the Surah Al-Fatiha. Many of our gatherings, when we sit, when we meet the mu'mineen, when we eat, don't just remember your marhumin, all the marhumin, from the time of Hazrat Adam till now. So you can get the reward for that as well. Get into a habit. Because they will benefit and you will benefit. In some of the narrations, we find some amazing narrations about going to visit the graves of your parents, no matter where they are buried. Sometimes when your hajat are not being accepted, so go to your mother's grave. I think there's a narration from our 7th Imam, Imam Qadim alayhi salam. It was about doing their ziyarah. The Imam said, if you can't come to do our ziyarah, it's too far for you. This is while the Imam is alive. You can't come and do our ziyarah, what should you do? You still want to get that reward of coming to our ziyarah and visiting us, visiting Amir al-Mu'mineen, visiting Abu Abdullah al-Hussain? If you can't go, what do? Go to the graves of my Mu'mineen. You can get that reward. How many of us have thought about this? We think, okay, I can't go for Arba'een, I can't go for Ashura to Abu Abdullah, what should I do? Should I just sit at home? You can go to visit the graveyards. Remind yourself where you're going. The status of a believer is, unfortunately, is not spoken about. We just hear about some of the rights of a mu'min. I've been attending majalis for many years. I haven't always been sitting on the minbar speaking, but I can't remember someone speaking 10 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes about the mu'mineen. There's so many narrations, whole books written about it. I don't hear about it. Recite salawat, please. Before we get on to that, what does Abu Abdullah al-Hussain, what does he teach us in Karbala? That every single one of us, no matter how good you are, you may be ma'asum, but you're going to leave. You could be Imam Hussain, you could be Sayyidah Fatima, you're all going to leave. We're followers of that Imam. What, like we said before, why do we fear death? You look at Abu Abdullah al-Hussain on the day of Ashura. What does it say? As his martyrdom got close, everyone has become shaheed. There's no Ali Akbar, no Asghar, no Qasim. Abu Abdullah in his last moments, they say Abu Abdullah was at peace. There was so much nur illuminating from his face. Even the enemy narrates this. Some of the mal'oons, they narrate this. They wanted to go forward, but they couldn't. We saw so much nur coming from his face. Why? Because why should they fear returning to their beloved? What do they recite in ziyaras? Mushtaqan ila farhate liqa'ik. They're looking forward to going back to Allah. Now we have an opportunity. We have time. I know death is scary sometimes, but we shouldn't be scared of death. If we're scared of death, there's a few things we can do. Think about it. Why am I scared? Is it something that I've done? Is it I have a lack of knowledge about the afterlife? How am I going to answer? Okay, fair enough. Let's do something about it. You have two options. Either we do nothing and stay scared, or we do something. If we don't have ilm, let's gain some knowledge. A follower of Amir al-Mu'mineen should be always after knowledge, no matter how old he is. 30 years old, 40 years old, 50 years old. We shouldn't be scared. This dunya is what? Temporary. We always hear this. What is it? Mazra'atul akhirah. We've heard that, right? Have we spent 5 minutes thinking about that? What does it mean? What does it mean in the Quran when they say, مَا خَلَقْتُ الْمَوْتَ وَالْحَيَاةَ إِلَّا لِيَبْلُوَكُمْ أَيُّكُمْ أَحْسَنُ عَمَلًا? Have we thought about this? We've created death and life for what? To see who acts in the best of ways, not the one who does the most. It doesn't say akthar. It says ahsanu amala. Sometimes we're proud we've held so many majalis. We've done so much charity, we've done so much salah. But sometimes those wajib actions are out of what? A habit. Sometimes there might be riyā involved. That namaz that I read in the masjid is very different to the salah that I read at home. It's the one who acts in the best of ways, not the one that does the most. Recite salawat, please. Just a few more points about this. Since the brother has started to recite salawat, don't be shy in sending us salawat. When we do that, Salam Muhammad. Just one point that I want some of our young brothers to always remember is always treat this dunya like a transit. What did Amir al-Mu'mineen say to his sons in his will when he was leaving this world? He was telling them, it's a lesson for us that you're not created for this world. Everything you have will go. It will be left behind. You will return. Your actions will remain. Like we said, this is temporary. Okay. Now what do I mean it's a transit? Does everyone know what a transit is? Some of our youngsters? A stopover. Many of you travel around the world. You travel to Pakistan. Some of you may be traveling to Iraq, inshallah, for Arba'een. Where do we stop? Sometimes you may stop. We don't get a direct flight. We stop where? Maybe in Doha, maybe in Turkey. We stop for a few hours. We know this place is not our destination. Before we go there, right? We know that. Where our aim, our destination is somewhere else. We stop maybe 2 hours, 3 hours, 5 hours. We stop for a short amount of time. But what happens in that short amount of time? What do you see? Amazing duty free. VIP lounge, comfortable chairs. All this glamour, all these signs calling you, come to me, buy from me, perfumes, clothing, chocolates. In your country it was a small chocolate, I'll give you one this size. Come to me. What happens? Some of us, we get drowned in this duty free. We spend so much time, we forget where we're going. Some people miss their flight. Why? Because they got drowned in that temporary place. Or some people, they might not miss their flight, but they just about get to the gate. The final call. Syed, kambar, where are you? We're waiting for you. Why? We were drowned. That duty free distracted us. This is how the dunya is. You will never be satisfied from this dunya. You get something, you will always want more. That's why they say one of the traits that Yazid and his army had, the mal'oon, and the army had is what? Some of the reasons why they committed some of those atrocities, what is hubbud dunya? What was it? They were promised land. They were promised money. They were attached to this world. Now as a believer, should I be attached? This dunya at the same time is not a bad place. Sometimes we hear these narrations, this dunya is a prison for a believer. Yes, it can be when we get attached to it. But it's also the masjid of Allah. This is where the Quran was revealed. This is where the Prophet and the Ahlul Bayt stepped foot on this earth. It's not a bad place. It's up to us how attached we get to this world. We have some time. It's scary, right? But it's not that scary. We've got some time. We don't know how much time. Some of us think, okay, 5 years' time, I'm going to start becoming more practicing. Or maybe when I get married. Or maybe when I have children. Or maybe when I'm a grandfather. So who's promised you that time? Just because I'm reciting, I've got imama on my head, does that mean I'm going to have a long life? No. Maybe on the way home I'll have a car accident and leave. Many from this community. I remember our dear brother Ali Naki, brother Hassan, many youngsters that left, they were my age. But they're not with us anymore. Who's promised I'm going to be living in 10 years? Go to the graveyard and have a look. There's babies, there's people that are 60, there's people that are 30. We're going to leave, but we have an opportunity now. And these are the best of times. These are the days of Allah. The majlis of the Ahlul Bayt, remembering Abu Abdullah al-Hussain in Muharram and Safar. These are days of Allah. This is how we migrate towards who? Allah. Through the wali of Allah. By following their teachings. These months, we're meant to take a lesson. It's not just 10 days we came, we cried, we done matam, and that's it. What lessons did I take? Now it's been how many days after that? Nearly a month. What has changed in me? If there hasn't been any change, we need to think, okay, what's wrong with my azadari? Why hasn't there been any changes in me? If I'm crying for Abu Abdullah, if I'm doing zikr of the Ahlul Bayt, why is it a month later this tongue is not doing zikr of the Ahlul Bayt anymore? Now it's being used for foul language. Recite salawat, please. There's many that are sick in this community. We know family members and friends that are not well. Maybe the doctors have given up on them. Maybe so many of us are physically sick, many of us are spiritually sick. For Allah to give shafa to all those in our family, in our community, please recite another salawat. Just a few more points before we get to our main topic about this majlis. It's related to the mu'mineen itself. Like I said, the mu'mineen, gathering together is considered what? Is ibadat. And what better place to gather than the majlis of the Ahlul Bayt? You'll realize this when we go through a few narrations. The majlis of the Ahlul Bayt is not something normal. Sometimes we think there's a poster sent out, Thursday night program. It's just another majlis. It's a tick list. Okay, we had another program. What we take from it will come to us. There's many scholars. There's one, Ayatollah Abidini, I don't know if any of you can speak Farsi or Arabic, book written in Farsi and translated in Arabic, I think. He's written a whole book on the etiquettes and adab of the majlis of Imam Hussain. And in that, he mentions the majlis of the Ahlul Bayt could be like doing the ziyarah of the Ahlul Bayt alayhimus salam through narrations. Now imagine that. Imagine we had that outlook. That when we're coming to this center, coming to the majlis, we're coming to do the ziyarah of the Ahlul Bayt. It would be very different, right? The way we leave our home would be very different. The way we sit here, what we speak about, how much time we spend outside, how we serve each other, it would be very different. Some scholars go even further. Sheikh Jafar Shustari, he mentions this. He says going to the majlis of the Ahlul Bayt is like doing ziyarah under the dome of Abu Abdullah al-Hussein. What's important in ziyarah? It'll go back to our understanding, our ma'rifah. Because they're not limited by time and space, right? We believe that imams can hear us. They haven't left this world. They can see us. Our 12th Imam is alive. Sometimes we think he's hiding. He sees us. He's alive. Recite salawat, please. So when we attend these gatherings, when you come next week, the next program, don't think you're just attending another normal gathering. If you want to take more, purify yourself. Come sincerely. What are some of the fadail of the ones that go to visit the Ahlul Bayt? Angels are following you when you come, when you leave. The steps that you take towards the shrines, how many sins are forgiven? But yes, what's important in ziyarah, that we make that change. Ziyarah is not just a physical meeting. There should be a change, leaning from one side to another. When we say migration towards Allah or the wali of Allah, there needs to be some sort of change. We need to get better, or try at least. Sometimes we'll fall, that's okay. It's normal. We'll fall, but we get back up again. No matter what we have done, no matter how many sins we have committed, we never give up or lose hope. What does the Quran say? La taqnatu min. Exactly, we should never give up. Why? Because we have Allah. He's always finding excuses to bring us closer to Him. Crying for Imam Hussain, I'll give you this much reward. The month of Ramadan, you do this, you do that, you'll be like a newborn baby. In the month of Sha'ban, the month of Rajab, you do this. Is that someone we should be scared of? Allah, He loves us. He's always trying to find excuses. Now we'll move on to our topic about the mu'mineen. We'll start with a narration from our 8th Imam, Imam Ali ibn Musa al-Rida, alayhi salam. Imam Rida alayhi salam, one of his companions by the name of Abdul Aziz Hassani. He comes to visit our 8th Imam, and as he's leaving, our 8th Imam says to him, pay attention to these words. Says, "Oh Abdul Aziz, ablig awliyai anni salam." There's different ways it's reported. Ablig anni awliyai salam. "Oh Abdul Aziz." This is who saying it? It's not me, this is Imam Rida alayhi salam. His words, sometimes we ask ourselves, what would we do if the Imam spoke to us? The Imams have spoke to us. Allah has spoken to us. The Quran and the Hadith, what is it? The words of the Ahlul Bayt. Imam Rida alayhi salam, he says, he goes, tell my believers, ablig anni awliyai salam. Is that limited to that time? No. Imam Rida alayhi salam is saying, give my salam to my believers. So Imam Rida alayhi salam is giving every single one of you salam. How beautiful is that? Imam is sending us salam. We say, alaykum salam ya Ali ibn Musa Rida. When we read Idhn al-Dukhul, what do we read in the harams? Many of you been for ziyarah. In part of the Idhn al-Dukhul, what do we read? Yarawna maqami. So, oh Imam, I'm visiting, it may be in Karbala, maybe in Mashhad. You know my state. You know what I'm going through. You know all the baggage I come with. Yasma'una kalami. You hear my words. And then it says, Yarudduna salami. You reply to our salam. They're alive. The narration, it carries on. He says, tell my believers, what else? What else should they do? Because be trustworthy. Sidqul hadith in your speech. Ada al-amana. Be trustworthy with the amanat. In some of our other narrations we find, how can we tell if someone is practicing? Does it say, look at how much they pray? How much hajj they've been on? Their marks on their forehead? No. In the narration it says, undur, if they are sidq al-hadith, if they're trustworthy. Are they trustworthy with aman? Are they trustworthy in their speech? Sometimes living in this country and the people that we're around, unfortunately, lying becomes a habit. But no, the Imam is telling us, be truthful in your speech. Then the Imam says, وَمُرْهُمْ, order them, murhum, bis-sakut. Similar to Urdu, sakut. Many of you understand what sakut is. وَتَرْكِ الْجِدَالِ. Says, tell them what else? Tell them to be silent. Sometimes this tongue, it doesn't have a break. We just let it keep flapping. Tarkil jadal. Don't have any vain talk. Don't have a conversation for the sake of it. Don't get into a conversation that has no conclusion or no real purpose. Debating. Unfortunately, sometimes you see speaker's corner, the way people are debating, is there any purpose? Does that other person really want to gain something? Is there akhlaq involved? No. Gossiping. After a program, going into a corner and talking about other believers? No. Why didn't we do Matam for 20 minutes? Why didn't we do it for 30 minutes instead? Okay, what is the purpose in our talking? Is there a conclusion there? No, the Imam is telling us, be silent. Let your actions speak. Our actions should show that I'm a follower of the Ahlul Bayt. Right? When I walk down that street, when I come out of this majlis, someone should be able to tell that, okay, this man, he follows that Prophet. He was known as Amin. He had good akhlaq. I shouldn't have to tell someone, I'm a good person. Look how many books I've read. I've got this much ilm. When someone meets me, they should be able to, okay, this brother, he's a good brother. His actions in the mosque and outside the mosque are the same. He always tries. He's not perfect, but he's a good brother. Let's show it in our action. Then the narration, it continues. This is where our point about the mu'min comes in. I apologize in advance if I go over time, but there's many narrations that we need to go to. Is it okay? Okay. The narration, it continues. وَإِقْبَالَ بَعْضِهِمْ عَلَى بَعْضٍ وَالْمُزَاوَرَةِ. What does Imam Rida alayhi salam say? Because tell them to meet one another. Muzawara. Not just meet, not a normal meet. Do ziyarah of one another. Don't have enough time to go into the meaning of ziyarah, but we made a few points. Why should we do all of these things? What will happen if we do all of these things? What will happen? Imam Rida alayhi salam, he says, Inna dhalika qurbatan alayya. Imam Rida alayhi salam, he says, if you do these, if you visit one another, if you go to the believers, this is how you get closer to me. We're always after the wala of the Ahlul Bayt, right? But now the Ahlul Bayt have told us a process. You want to get closer to me? We want to get closer to our 12th Imam? We want to get closer to Amir al-Mu'mineen. How are we going to do it? They're telling you, visit one another. Look at the Mu'mineen around you. This is a process. Recite salawat, please. Some of you are thinking, well, might not believe it. These are words of an Imam. But if I told you, you have to go to, I don't know, Mount Everest, climb barefoot for 15 hours, go get some leaves, bring those leaves back, keep them in the sun for 10 days and drink water from that, and then you'll have some cure for every single disease. You would believe it. Many people would believe it. Why? Why would you believe it? Because you think, I put so much effort in. It was really hard. I've got blisters on my feet. I couldn't sleep. I can't walk for days now. So it must have that effect. But now, the believers are everywhere. So easily accessible. Like the Quran, it's on our shelf. That manual for everything, all success in this life and the hereafter is there. But because it's so easily accessible, sometimes we don't give it its value. We don't recognize how important it is. We want to get close to the Imams through the Mu'mineen. Another narration from Ishaq ibn Ammar. I think it was Imam Muhammad Baqir alayhi salam. Many of you that are going for ziyarah, remember these words, it will help you. We will look at the mu'mineen around us very differently. He narrates, he was living in a time where the words of the Shia were not accepted. Even in the courts, just because they're Shia, it would not be accepted. At the start of the Abbasids. He was living in Ray. People would come to him, any hajat they had, any problems they had, they would come to him and ask him any questions, anything he could help with. This is a non-ma'soom, by the way, while the ma'soomeen are alive. Inshallah, you get the point. Non-ma'soom, he's helping the community. He used to visit the Imams every year. This year, he says, he got rich. The Shia were very poor, but that year he got rich. He got some wealth. So what did he do in that year? It was an inner house and an outer house. He had a guard from the inner house, he placed it at the front. Why? Because the authorities are cracking down on the Shia. He's trying to protect the Shia. He's not worried about his wealth. He's a good man. He's a great man. He places a guard there so the Shias don't gather. That year, he's narrating, he went to see the Imam. He goes to see the Imam and he sends his salam. Assalamu alaikum. The Imam replies to him, but in a stern way. Alaykum salam. He was shocked. He's a great man. He hasn't done anything wrong. He's helping the community. He's thinking, why is the Imam looking at me like this? And look, it's beautiful. Look at the adab of this person. It's a lesson for us in this as well. You know what he says to the Imam? He says, what has changed in me that you respond like this? He's not attributing any change or deficiency in the Imam. Saying, what have I done? You know what the Imam replies? It's a long narration, but I'm just going to read part of it. You know what the Imam replied? He says, غَيُّرُكَ أَوْ تَغَيُّرُكَ عَلَى الْمُؤْمِنِينَ. Why did the Imam respond to him in a harsh way? Give him that stern look. Because you have changed in regards to the mu'mineen around you. It's a long duration. It's like, well, what have I done? I was just trying to protect the Shia. No. You should have gone a step further. You should have found an alternative. These people looked up to you. Yeah, you were trying to protect them there, but you should have found an alternative. Then the Imam, he carries on with many narrations about the mu'min. Do you know the mu'min? Do you know when two mu'mins come together, what happens? There's 100 rahmat that comes down on them. When two believers, two of you, come and meet one another, two sisters, 100 rahmas are coming down. You know what 99% of them go to who? The one who has more love for the other. Allahu Akbar. Now that doesn't mean the one who's just saying salam, salam. How are you smiling and deep down is saying, I never want to see this brother again. No, genuinely. The one who shows more love, he'll get more blessings. When two believers come and meet one another, just shake hands. As long as their hands are together, their sins are being fallen. Sins are being forgiven. So what you find in the narration, no one was able to give salam to the Prophet before him. He's always giving salam to people. No matter what his status was, the young, the old, first to give salam. And us. Sometimes we see someone on the street, someone from our community, we look the other way or go on our phone pretending we didn't see him. Some of you are laughing, but it's true, right? Why? Because we don't realize the status of another believer. Who is this mu'min? Allah, the Rahman, the Rahim, the Razzaq. He's attributing himself to a believer. He's associating himself with a believer. And we're ignoring him. In other narrations, what do we find? About the honor of a mu'min is greater than what? Afdal minal Kaaba. The honor and dignity of a mu'min is greater than the Kaaba itself. Recite salawat, please. We have all these narrations. I'll just briefly touch on a few more. Just certain points, not the whole narration. How we should look at one another. In some narrations, this is maybe a bit difficult for us. Some of the narrations say we should be like an abd to another believer, a slave. So, slave to another believer. We see faults in another believer, we're quick to point faults in others. But this is not the teachings of the Ahlul Bayt. We should always look to ourselves. Now, if this is the state of a believer, how should we be with the believers around us? There's believers here at home. When we wake up in the morning, who's at home? Our wife, our mother, our child. They're all mu'mineen. If we want to get closer to Allah, we need to look. Okay, how am I treating my spouse? How am I speaking to my children? They may be younger than me. I need to treat them with respect. My parents, we may have disagreements, differences, but we never show disrespect. So we learn from Karbala. Abu Abdullah al-Hussain, many people disagreed with him. Close companions, family members. He had differences. Did he belittle them? No. He listened. He didn't belittle them, he disagreed with them. I have to go. What happens sometimes? Look at these elections that happen here in the UK. What happens? Sometimes when there's an election happening, what do people do? They start belittling the other party to make themselves seem better. In some communities you see it. But the narration says, do not belittle another believer. Do not backbite. Now, just because I'm trying to get a position, does that give me the right to disrespect another mu'min whose honor is greater than the Kaaba? It could be in the mosque, it could be at the cricket pitch. As you know, I enjoy cricket. It could be at your workplace. There's mu'mineen everywhere. How easy is it? How easy is that? It doesn't cost you anything. Having a smile, If we're upset, some of our family members are upset with us. We've made some mistakes. Some of us, how long does this enmity go on for? Years. 10 years, 20 years, 30 years. Some of those parents have passed away and those children have carried it on. With who? With close family members. It's haram. Is this something new I'm telling you? No, you all know this. The raham, you cannot cut ties with your raham, your close family members. In some of the narrations, believers shouldn't break up longer than 3 days. Some of the narrations go even further. Say the one who has cut ties and the one who has been cut, if he doesn't try to make up, they will both be punished. Allahu Akbar. The one who's cut the ties and the other person. Why? Because he didn't try. This is the status of a believer. I'm going to go through a last narration before we get to the musibah. It's a hadith Qudsi from Prophet Musa. This is who? Prophet Musa talking to Allah. Please recite salawat. So Prophet Musa talking to Allah. Allah says to Prophet Musa, says, Maristu, falam ta'udni. Allah is saying what? I got sick and you didn't visit me. Pay attention. Allah is saying to Prophet Musa, I got sick, you didn't visit me. Waja'tu falam tut'imni. I was hungry, you didn't feed me. Hazrat Musa is thinking, like many of you are thinking right now, what are you talking about? Allah doesn't need my help. Does Allah get sick? He says, Ya Rabbul Izzah, do you get sick? Do you get hungry? Look at Allah, what He replies. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He says, Yaju'u awliyai. Allah is saying, my believers were hungry. If you visited them, if you fed them, it's as if you fed me. If you visit a sick believer, it's as if you visited Allah. What does it say in the Quran? In Tansurullah? Yansurkum. Help Allah. Does Allah need our help? No, He doesn't need our help. Does He get sick? No. But He's attributing the believer to Himself. How many people need help around us? In this community, on the global stage, look around the world, look at Palestine, look at Lebanon, Syria, Iraq, Parachinar in Pakistan, in African countries. How many believers are hungry? Don't have clean water, don't have food, clothing. What are we doing to help them? Allah is telling us, if you help these believers, it's as if you helped me. We say, no, I don't have no responsibility. I'm sitting here in the UK. Of course we have. To whatever extent we can, look around us, look in our community. If we don't know someone has a problem in our community or needs help, that's our fault. Our imams are telling us how you should be. You should visit one another. If someone needs help, they shouldn't have to ask you for help. We should know that. How hard is it today to contact our family members, to speak to them? A phone call, a text message. Maybe a sister just needs someone to speak to. She's struggling right now. Someone's feeling depressed. Someone's feeling scared. As some of the brothers mentioned about this chaos going around in the UK. But these Jahil people, a small minority. The mu'mineen should help each other. Let me just mention a few points about that as well, if you don't mind. Should we be scared? What's our responsibility? What does Amir al-Mu'mineen teach us? Should we be scared of anyone? What does Abu Abdullah al-Hussain teach us? No matter how great the enemy may be, no matter their numbers or their military power, we shouldn't fear them. Right? We're followers of Amir al-Mu'mineen. Who is he? Someone asked Amir al-Mu'mineen, oh Amir al-Mu'mineen, this armor you have, why is it only covered from the front? You don't have an armor that's covering you from the back. He says, me? I never run away from the battlefield. I never turn away from the enemy. We're followers of that Imam, yes. We never fear, but we're wise. This same Imam, what does he say? He says, Al-amilu ghayra basiratin ka-asair ghayra tariq la yazidhu sur'atu sayr illa ba'dan. A person who acts without wisdom is like the one traveling in the wrong direction. No matter how fast he goes, what happens? He gets further away from his goal. Same Imam. Yeah, we don't have fear, but we're wise. We don't fall into the traps of the enemy. We need to recognize the enemy. What do they want? Sometimes they want us to get provoked. Some of them, what do? They walk around with cameras. They want people to hit them, right? So they can portray Muslims in a bad light. No, we don't do that. We're not going to put ourselves in danger. The mu'mineen help each other in these current times. If someone needs help coming to the center, if we want to stay in groups, this is ibadah, this is worship. Not just because of these times, should happen all the time. Let's not get provoked. And defending yourselves. We shouldn't be shy defending yourself within the law. We don't go out searching for trouble, but if a time comes we need to defend ourselves, not a problem. It's normal, it's human nature. Not about Islam. Any single person will do that. If someone's attacking me, I'm going to defend myself. Try to. Sometimes defending yourself is not physical force. It's de-escalating that situation. You have guidelines. As the brother mentioned at the start, the community leaders are in contact with the authorities. But at the same time, we need to do our part. The narration we read at the start, what was it? It says, the one who upsets a mu'min, adha al-mu'minan, wa man adhani, faqad adhani. This was the Prophet talking, the narration we read at the start. And with this we'll go on to Musibah. It says, the one who upsets a mu'min has upset me. The one who has upset me has upset Allah. And the one who's upset Allah, he's mal'oon in what? Tawrat, Injil, Zabur, wal Furqan. So now when we go home, after this program, when we come to this majlis, if I've upset someone, you haven't only upset that person, you've upset Allah. You've upset your Imam. You may have come to the majlis, had an argument in the car, and you didn't try to make up. You come to the majlis trying to get closer to the Ahlul Bayt, but you've upset Allah. When you're going for ziyarah and you see the mu'mineen that are serving you, sometimes you're complaining, you're upsetting them, belittling them. They're only giving me a tissue, or what kind of food is this? No. Think about these words. Just remember those two lines. Inna dhalika qurbatan alayya and taghayyuruka ala al-mu'mineen. So when we want to go towards that shrine in Najaf, in Karbala, remember, I can't upset believers on the way because the Imam will respond to me like this. Now it's the month of Safar. We said, this is how the mu'mineen should be treated. All these narrations we had, the status of a believer is afdal min al-Kaaba. How did they treat the family of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam? How did they treat awliya Rasul in the month of Safar? It's difficult. You cried in the whole month of Muharram, but these nights, my dear brothers and sisters, are very difficult nights. What happened after Karbala, Allahu Akbar, what Musa'ib went through, Sayyidah Zainab went through, only God knows. After seeing all of that, she says, Ma ra'aytu illa jamila. From a young age, she's seen what? Amir al-Mu'mineen being struck. She's seen Sayyidah Fatima. She's seen what happened in Karbala. Many of you, you've been to Karbala, right? How far is Tilla Zainabiyya from the Qatlaga, where Abu Abdullah al-Hussain had his last moments? How far is it? Imagine a sister seeing Abu Abdullah. What happened on the plains of Karbala? Don't want to go through everything. Just send a few salams and I'm going to try and paint a picture what happened from Karbala to Kufa and then Kufa to Sham. Allahu Akbar. Sallallahu alayka ya Aba Abdullah. Take your hearts to Karbala. Imagine the Imams are looking for you. The one in our narrations we find, the ones who go to visit Abu Abdullah al-Hussain, what happens? Abu Abdullah al-Hussain, he prays for forgiveness for him. He knows you by your name. He knows your father's name. He knows your grandfather's name. Allahu Akbar. Abu Abdullah al-Hussain, he asks for forgiveness for you. Then what does he do? He asks Amir al-Mu'mineen to ask for forgiveness for the Mu'min. Imagine these, how Kareem the Ahlul Bayt are. Sallallahu alayka ya Aba Abdullah. Assalamu alayka ya Madloom. Sallallahu alayka ya ayyuha al-shaheed bi Karbala atshana. Allahu Akbar. Imagine how thirsty Abu Abdullah must have been on the plains of Karbala. This is that Madloom Imam, he stay alone. There's no Ali Akbar, there's no Qasim, there's no Hazrat Abbas. That small baby Ali Asghar is not there. That small neck was pierced with the arrow of Haram Allah. Allahu Akbar. What else happened after that? It's not a coincidence. Today we're remembering who? The maghfirah of who? Marhuma. Sayyidah, what was her name? Sakina. Allahu Akbar. There was another Sakina in Karbala. Imagine after they looted the body of Abu Abdullah al-Hussain, then they went to the tents of who? Tents of Ali Rasul, tents of Zainab bint Ali. Imagine these mal'oons running towards them, seeing small children. What are they doing? One mal'oon is hitting them, one mal'oon starts pulling their earrings. Allahu Akbar. What did the Ahlul Bayt see? What did they go through? How much masibah did they go through? Allahu Akbar. Now imagine this caravan is leaving from Karbala to Kufa. Imagine these scenes. Who's going to Karbala? Who's going to Kufa? Now Sayyidah Zainab, Kulthum, Imam Sajjad, Bibi Sakina, a small child. Imagine, how is this caravan traveling? Now they have to go to Kufa. The journey didn't stop in Karbala. Now they have to go to Kufa. How are they going to Kufa? Just going to mention one story here. There's a great scholar by the name of Ayatollah Sibawayh. He mentioned in the time of Mirza Buzurg Shirazi, there was a Nohan. It was a majlis. He was reciting a Noha. And in that, while he was reciting a Noha, he read one line. That one line, Mirza Buzurg Shirazi took off his imam and started crying, started hitting his head. He goes, stop, don't read anymore. This one line is more than enough for Masayib. You know what he read? He said, Dakhalat Zainab ala ibn Ziyad. Imagine Zainab bint Ali in the court of Ibn Ziyad. That's more than enough for us to cry. What else happened in the court of Ibn Ziyad? Allahu Akbar. Now imagine Bibi Zainab, Bibi Sakina, those small hands are tied in ropes. Imam Sajjad is in chains. How do they go to Sham? Allahu Akbar. Sham is very difficult. They're going towards Sham. Now imagine, sometimes I don't think we picture this well. The heads of Abu Abdullah al-Hussain are on spares. The head of Ali Akbar is on a spare. This caravan is being paraded in the streets from city to city, not just from one city, from a country to another country. Sayyidah Zainab is going towards Sham. You know what Yazid did? It said in some reports he took 3 days to get Sham ready for the Ahlul Bayt. Who are they welcoming? Ali Rasul, the grandchildren of who? Sayyidah Zahra salamullah alayha. 3 days, thousands upon thousands of people. There's drummers, there's women, even non-Muslim. He comes to Sham on that day and he says, what's going on over here? Why is there so much commotion over here? Who are these captives that they're bringing? You know what he said? What they replied, these are the captives of Ali Rasul, the grandchildren of the Prophet. This man, he's shocked and amazed. He says, you people call yourself Muslim? You're celebrating killing the children of that Prophet that you believe in? Allahu Akbar. He spent 3 days preparing Sham. You know what happens? Thousands upon thousands. Imagine we cry over when a non-mahram looks at our women, right? Imagine these Sham people are the same people that used to hate Amir al-Mu'mineen. As they got closer to the Darbar of Sham, in Sheikh Abbas Qummi, he narrates in Nafs al-Mahmum, he says as they got closer, Kulthum says to Shim, he goes, Shim, Don't take us through this busy gate. It's so busy over here. And tell them to move the heads forward. Why? So the non-mahrams can't look at us. There's so many people. Take us through a place that's not so busy. What did he do? He did the total opposite. He's taken Zainab bint Ali, Kulthum through the busiest gate. In our reports it says, it was Baba Sa. Many of you have been to Syria. Baba Sa, how far is it from the palace? Baba Sa is a few streets. Look at this. It was daytime when they got too close to Baba Sa. Allahu Akbar. Imagine this. In reports, it was daytime when they got to Baba Sa. You know what time it was when they got into the darbar? In the darbar, they say it was the time of Ghurub. Such a short space. How many people must there have been looking at Zainab? One person is throwing rubbish. One person is throwing stones. Allahu Akbar. Imagine that. Then what happens? We don't understand this, but now look, imagine everyone enters the palace. Sayyidah Zainab, hands are tied. Sakina's hands are tied. Imam Sajjad is in chains, not normal chains, chains around his neck, chains around his feet, chains around his arms. He comes into the court. What's happened? Yazid is sitting on his throne. The head of Abu Abdullah al-Hussain is brought before him on a tray. He's looking at that head. What does he do to that head? He has a stick in his hand. He starts poking his stick on the teeth of Abu Abdullah al-Hussain. Someone shouts out, "What are you doing?" "I've seen the Prophet kiss these teeth." Allahu Akbar. There's a few more moments. We remember Marhuma Sakina. There was another Sakina. Now after in Sham, everyone started leaving. Everyone went back towards Medina. So they went to Karbala. There was one left in the Zindan of Sham. That was a small child of Abu Abdullah al-Hussain. Allahu Akbar. Allah la'natullah ala al-qawm al-zalimin. وَسَيَعْلَمُ الَّذِينَ ظَلَمُوا أَيُّ مَنْقَلِبٍ يَنْقَلِبُونَ. Salawat. Matem Hussain.
आगे आ थोड़ा या हुसैन या हुसैन या हुसैन या हुसैन सज्जाद मैं ज़ैनब हूँ मेरे सर पे रिदा कोई नहीं बाज़ार जफ़ा सज्जाद मैं माशाल्लाह मेरे सर पे रिदा कोई नहीं बाज़ार जफ़ा सज्जाद मैं ज़ैनब हूँ मेरे सर पे रिदा कोई नहीं बाज़ार जफ़ा मजमा है कूफियों का और चलने की राह कोई नहीं बाज़ार जफ़ा सज्जाद निदा कोई नहीं बाज़ार जफ़ा सज्जाद मेरे सर से 9 बार छिनी चादर बलवे में नबी ज़ादी फिरवाई गई दर दर मिल जाए रिदा मुझको अब बाकी जफ़ा कोई नहीं बाज़ार जफ़ा सज्जाद में मेरे सर पे रिदा कोई नहीं बाज़ार जफ़ा सज्जाद मैं ज़ैनब हूँ मेरे सर पे रिदा कोई नहीं बाज़ार सज्जाद चलूं कैसे लाखों हैं तमाशाई। याद आता है वो रह के आपास मेरा भाई, फरियाद करूं किससे अब तेरे सिवा कोई नहीं। बाज़ार जफा सजाद मैं ज़ैनब हूँ, मेरे सर पे रिदा कोई नहीं। बाज़ार जफा मजमा है कूफियों का, और चलने की राह कोई नहीं। बाज़ार जफा सजाद मेरे सर पे रिदा कोई नहीं। बाज़ार जफा मालूम है आदा को, गाजी की बहन हूँ मैं। बेदस्त है वो गाजी, पाबंदे रसन हूँ मैं। याद आई वफा उसकी, अब बाकी बचा कोई नहीं। बाज़ार जफा सजाद मैं ज़ैनब हूँ, मेरे सर पे रिदा कोई नहीं। बाज़ार जफा सजाद मेरे सर पे रिदा कोई नहीं। बाज़ार जफा मौत आएगी जिंदा में मेरी बाली सकीना को, क्या जाके बताऊंगी बीमार मदीना को। गम दिल के उठाने को अब बाकी बचा कोई नहीं। बीमार जफा सजाद मैं ज़ैनब हूँ, मेरी सर पे रिदा कोई नहीं। बाज़ार जफा
Normally we will now have a namaz break, and then seated namaz will be served straight after. If you need to do wuzu